That is the language that New York State Senator John Liu used in a statement yesterday, responding to the news that schools Chancellor David Banks is resigning. This comes as a growing number of top aides and officials in the Adams administration are also
bunch of pimps
under
and escorts.
investigation. Ahead of Banks' announcement yesterday, Mayor Adams spoke to reporters at his weekly press briefing, arguing that the recent departures are business as usual.
Employees and staffers come and go. Very few remain throughout an entire term.
Yeah, especially when it comes to corruption.
And while they're here, I have only one ask. Give it your all.
I want to bring in Greg Smith, a frequent guest of the show and reporter with the City.NYC, who's been covering the crisis at City Hall, and our education reporter, Jillian Jorgensen, who has, of course, been following this all along the way. Greg, I'd like to start with you first. Thanks for being here this morning.
Happy to be here.
So, looking for a new schools chancellor, a new police commissioner, a new health commissioner, chief counsel. The list goes on. Is that
need a new
business as
ACS
usual?
commissioner?
Forgot the nightclub czar. That guy.
That
Let's not
too.
forget that guy. No, this is crazy. I mean, this is out of control. I mean, the last time that there was this kind of like frenzy about corruption that was around City Hall was back in the mid-'80s with Ed Koch and the City for Sale series of indictments. Koch himself was never actually touched by it, other than it destroyed his political career. This circumstance, what we have is all the people, and all of these people, just to be really clear, are super tight with this guy. This is the inner circle. And once you get to the inner circle, all bets are off.
Well, because these aren't just people that work with him and for him. These are people that are his closest allies, which is what makes part of what David Banks' announcement yesterday all the more surprising.
Sure. So that's the Banks brothers that we're talking about here. So we have Eric Adams has a long-standing relationship with the Banks family because Philip Banks Jr., who is the father of the three Banks brothers. I don't want this to sound like a Western here, but
we got you.
But Philip Banks Jr. was really tight with Eric Adams, and so therefore he's been tight with the Banks family for decades, frankly. And so now you have David Banks, the schools chancellor, Philip Banks III, who is the deputy mayor for public safety, and Terrence Banks, who is the kind of the Frito of the group here, who is he doesn't work for the city, but he's got a government relations firm. And to me, that little circle there is the reason that David Banks hit or announced that he was going to hit the road.
Yeah, and we will soon find out what this is all about. To Jillian, though, what do we know about who's taking over for David Banks and trying to create stability within New York City public schools?
So the
they're still trafficking children.
We've been told by sources is Melissa Aviles Ramos. She is a deputy chancellor right now for the part of the DOE that engages with families, community education councils, elected officials, people like that. She's not from that kind of. She's part of David Banks' inner circle at the DOE, sure, but not from that mayor inner circle that Greg.
She won't talk to Edmund Welch.
She is a longtime educator. She was a New York City public school teacher, an assistant principal, a superintendent. So she does have that background and knowledge of New York City. We're not dealing with someone coming from outside and having to get up to speed with how this massive New York City Department of Education works, which I think will bring some stability to this job. But it really remains to be seen, how long will she be there? She'll take office. She'll take on that role in January. The mayor will have a year left in his first term. What happens then? Is this going to be kind of a placeholder position? We don't know. There's so much uncertainty right now with the city government as a whole. So it'll be very interesting to watch how this plays out.
I want to talk about Tom Donlin, the interim police commissioner, because Greg, I see you smiling. I see you smirking. He was put in place when Ed Caban resigned, and presumably it was, let's keep the trains running on time. This is a guy who's got a clean record with the FBI, and we're going to put him in place, and then his home is raided. I want to play a bit of what the mayor said yesterday at his weekly press briefing when asked about Donlin.
He is a great New Yorker, formerly a special agent in charge, headed the Homeland Security for the state, and he and I communicated. and I am comfortable with his communications with me.
What do you make of that?
Well, let's be clear about something. I have never heard of a police commissioner resigning after having his cell phone taken by the FBI. This is somewhat unusual, I would say. So you try
Quite.
to get somebody else. You can't have anybody connected to him sitting in that job. So you go outside and you bring this guy in. Now, my understanding of this is that whatever happened with the FBI showing up at their former colleague's home to take documents, which is what he said happened, has nothing to do with what's going on at City Hall. It has more to do with him. Somebody obviously sees him get into this position and says, well, I'm going to make a little phone call. I never liked this guy anyway. That's my read of it. I don't know that for a fact, but that seems to be the case. But at any rate, there's still no, you have a police commissioner who had interim police commissioner.
Yeah, hard to keep
who
it straight sometimes
correct,
now.
and he had his home raided by the FBI. I don't know how he gets FBI clearance. How does he get FBI clearance and so now who's running the department? I mean, and who's running the Department of Education? What about the idea that you're a city employee, like mid-level person? Would you want to have a conversation with these people
Right.
who have had their cell phones taken? Maybe you're in the cell phone, right? I mean, it's just like totally destabilizing. No matter what he says about, we're not distracted. How could it not be distracted?
How can it not be a distraction? I mean, I had DCPI from NYPD here the other day saying there's a lot of people in the department that wish all of this would just go away. But in the meantime, they do wish that it would just end because it goes to the morale issue. It goes to the people who are working there who just want to do good work. Greg Smith.
It goes to the citizens
on the city
who gotta
NYC.
suffer this
Thank you
shit.
for being here. Jillian as well. Thank you.
All right, a
There
citizen
is
like
small
me,
chance for a
15
few light
years in
showers
fucking
today.
family
Highs
called
will make it to
corruption.
the upper 60s and low 70s. Here's Guy now with the rest of the details.